hardware removable adjustable strap. It says this chain strap is 14.6 inches long, and then the maximum strap drop on the longer removable strap is 22 inches. So, all that checks out again. Alright, so let's start with this first photo, and this is just going to be a face-on, front-facing picture, just like this. And we can see that the way that this front bag should be laid out is a little flower in each corner. Now, each of those little flowers are not completely shown on the canvas. They're lined up right at the edge. You know what I mean? So if I get you up close and we look, we have that flower, the flower, the flower. And that is completely accurate. And then we have a Pochette tab on the front that says the name and Paris with yellow stitching. So that is all accurate. Okay, this next photo you're going to see, I want you to look at the piping on these two bags. When we zoom in here, you can see that the piping does not go all the way to the top on the bags. It does stop right down here, and then it gets sewn and tucked in. And if you can see in that photo, there's a finishing stitch that goes down each one of these right here at the top on the corners. So we have all of that is completely accurate as well. All right, and then we're going to zoom in again, and what we're going to do is we're going to look at the very bottom of this front pouch. And if you look at the front of this pouch, right around that piping again, what we see is that the very bottom of this pouch should have a line of those flowers that goes all the way around it, and it's just like the top leaf part of that flower is missing, right? It starts right above the center hole of that flower. So let's look at the bottom of mine. Now, let me turn it this way so you can see more of it. Now, if you can see mine, it's really close, but it's actually off just a tiny, tiny bit. This canvas is pushed over toward the front just a little bit more than it should be, actually. So these little flowers right here that I'm talking about should be pulled back a little tiny bit more than they are, because the bottom of this row of the canvas should be centered on the bottom, and you should have the flower here and the flower here evenly spaced on each side. So the canvas on the bottom of the bag I have right here is actually shifted over just a little bit. It's not bad, and it's not bad enough that if someone wasn't very, very familiar with this, that they wouldn't, or that they would notice, but it is something that I picked up on, so it's something I'm going to point out to y'all. Okay, the next photo we're going to look at actually shows the inside of these two pouches. So you can see they both have a brown textile lining. The smaller pouch in the front has no pockets, nothing in it. And then the larger pouch in the back should have one pocket with the tag. So we can see we have that brown textile lining, no pockets in the front pouch. And then in the back one, we have that same textile lining, and you do get the little, branding tag pouch right there. I couldn't think for a minute. Then this next photo, we're going to look at the hardware and the zippers, and we're going to zoom over a little bit. So each zipper should have an L and a V on it. So if we look at the zippers on here, I'm not sure how well this will focus for y'all to be able to see this, but if you can see there, we do have the accurate markings on the zippers. The zippers look like the same shape, the same coloration, hardware color, all of that. So hardware is accurate. And then we're going to go back really quickly to this first photo, or I'm just going to show you the best photo I have of this. But one thing that got my attention when I received this was this chain. So this chain is completely accurate. It looks the exact same. There's no difference there. But I noticed that this chain does not have a clip itself. So the chain is made to clip onto the little clips on your smaller pouch here. And I thought that was a little strange, but that is completely accurate in how this was designed. So this chain will not go on the larger pouch. It only goes on the smaller one. But that is how it's designed. That is completely accurate. Now, if we zoom in here on these little logo tags on the front, we can see they have the branding in them. We can see they have yellow stitching across them. And then we can see they have a red trim. So if you can see that, that is all accurate as well. We have the yellow stitching across the top of the tag. We have the red trim. This looks a little bit brighter than it does in the photos, but this is actually fairly accurate. It is not a super, super bright red. It's looking brighter because of my ring light, so this does look accurate to me. Okay, this next photo is going to show us a picture of the back of the largest pouch. And if we zoom in here, we can see we should have 3 of the LVs right dead center. And on either side of the LV, we're going to have just a little tiny piece of one of those like hollow pointy floret parts that sticks out next to those. And that is totally accurate. So we have the little piece that sticks out. We have 1, 2, 3 right in the middle. Now let's see how well this one is lined up on the back. So at the very bottom here, it looks like we should have about half of a flower sticking up on the bottom. So that looks like it is lined up very well. We can look at the corners and see that each corner should have just a little tiny speck poking up and just a little tiny round bit on the corner here, and that looks accurate as well. So the top should be lined up with those same flowers, and that is correct again. That looks pretty accurate to me. The photo is taken more from this angle, so yeah, that looks lined up nearly perfect. And then I would imagine on the bottom of this one, yeah, this is how that front pouch should have looked on the bottom. We should have this row right here dead center with the flowers evenly spaced on either side. And then if we look at the front of this pouch, it should be laid out the same as the back. So we have the flowers across the bottom, a little point sticking up, a little round edge, a little point, a little round edge, and then the flowers lined up perfectly across the top. So this pouch, the larger one in the back, the canvas is laid out perfectly. Now if we go back really quickly and look at the canvas on the smaller pouch on the front, the top of the smaller pouch should have the 2 round bits on either side at the very top corners. And that looks accurate. We have those there. And then we have the little hollow flowers on either side of the tag. 2 LVs in the middle, and then the bottom, we should have little round bits in each corner. And then 3 of the little symbols right across the bottom. So the front of this pouch looks perfect. This one's lined up perfect as well. Alright, and then this next photo is going to show us the strap and the little coin purse that comes with this. So you essentially get 5 different pieces when you get this particular item. You get a round coin purse with a clip on top that you can clip to your strap. You get the chain, the smaller pouch, the larger pouch, and then the canvas strap, which is removable. Actually, all of the pieces of this are removable. You don't have to use it as a handbag if you don't want to. You could completely pull it apart and use each piece individually, separately, however you want to do it. But looking at the coin pouch right here, we have the exact same hardware, and I don't know if you'll be able to see it very well, but there is branding right there on it. That is accurate. That is correct. This is a swivel clip. That is accurate as well. The front of this coin pouch looks perfectly lined up. That is how it should look. That looks completely accurate to me. And then the back of it has the smaller monogram. Again, this canvas is lined up perfectly. No issue there. Again, on the zipper, I haven't even taken the covering off of this. But if you can see on that one, we have that same LV branding. And then the inside of the coin pouch is lined, and on the back of it there, if you can see, it does have the branding on it. So the little coin pouch is completely accurate, in my opinion. Okay, so if we look at the strap, according to the picture that we have, we know we should have the branding that begins and ends right at the points of these little tabs. And then we know these tabs should be trimmed in red. They should also have yellow stitching around them. We have a slide adjustment, and all of the hardware should be marked with LV. So let's start on this end. I don't know how well you can see it on that little clip right here, but we do have the branding. And again, we have the swivel clip. Right here, that Pochette piece looks lined up perfectly. And we do have the branding that ends right at the point of that Pochette, so that looks accurate. We have the slide adjustment. We have the little piece to clip your coin pouch. And then again, I think I'm showing that to you upside down. but we have the branding that starts right at the tip of the spaghetti here. And by the way that this photo looks and lays the strap out, if the coin purse sits right here on this clip, then the branding should read out perfectly this direction all the way across. And it does. If you can see that, it's laid out the right direction. It goes the right way all the way across and ends perfectly on this end. So this strap looks absolutely perfect to me. So
I love her. Okay, now she's got the red inside, and she is a 13 series. If that helps you guys looking for the bag, that means if you love this handbag, what you would have to say is, I'm really looking for Chanel Red Caviar with gold hardware from the 13 series. They haven't produced these much recently at all, so all of these handbags are going to probably be pre-owned. This one really wasn't worn much, but she is pre-owned, but she's in excellent condition. And I'm so happy to have her as mine. Now let me show you her on. This is the medium classic flap. It's 10 inches this way. And this is her worn double. And the great thing about the mediums, sorry, I had her on the wrong side, so it looked funny. Dun, 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 dun. The great thing about the mediums is that they can fit a ton of stuff, more than the rectangular mini classic flap. Not quite as much as the jumbo, but enough for me. Being a mom of 3, it can hold my phone, my wallet, everything that I need that's a necessity, and it's not too heavy. The jumbo's a little bit heavier, so right now I'm all about the mediums. And this is her on single strap. She hits at the perfect length for me. If you wanted to extend the strap so it could be a little bit longer, you could wear a crossbody. You can always reach out to leather surgeons in Doylestown, PA, and they would be happy to help you if they're able to. I can't promise what they can always do, but they might be able to assist you. So please comment below. Let me know what your holy grail bag is. Which bag do you love that you just can't find? Which bag do you love that you have found that you'll never ever let go of? And maybe let me know which is your favorite red, because I have a few reds in my collection. I have the red with ruthenium.
Standard, really nothing much to look at here. And I compared the outside and the sort of flap of the bag to the actual pictures on the website, and for the most part everything matches up. So the stitching and everything, like how many quilts, how the quilts start, like as you can see, like this is half a quilt and then there's like 2 full quilts, so that matches up with what's on the website. Just another packaging thing, unless you buy this secondhand and the person who sells it to you says that this is how they store their bags, when you get it from the boutique, it's never actually going to come with this type of styrofoam. Chanel doesn't use styrofoam. If anything, they use felt coverings. So that is one thing to note. So let's go ahead and let's open this bag. So opening it up, we can see that it pretty much looks pretty similar, to be honest. And I know that these are 2 different types of bags, but the general construction is the same. So we have the zipper at the top, and then we have the card holders that are right there, and that's the exact same thing with the authentic Chanel walk, where you have their card holders right there. We have the pocket here, zipper here, so same thing. We have the pocket here, which is harder to see since this one is all black, and then we have the zipper here. So again, nothing jarring when you just look at it. However, one of the other dead giveaways is, if you'll see right here, whoever made this, they were somewhat smart. They're like, okay, this is a new seasonal bag. All the seasonal Chanel walks now come with a plaque. So you might look at this plaque and be like, oh wow, like it has a plaque. It's the newest one, therefore it's authentic. But as I briefly showed you, this came with an authenticity card. A Chanel bag that has a plaque is never going to come with an authenticity card. So if you see both, that, in my opinion, is a dead giveaway. So I'll compare this authenticity card with my real one from one of my older Chanel bags to give you an idea of, just in case you are getting an older model.